So we all peace. So I woke up this morning and I seen in the news. I turn on the news and I see that we attacked Iran in the middle of the night or early this morning. Now we've been planning to do this for a long time. This is not nothing new, and yes, Iran is a dictatorship. We know this, but that's not the reason why we're attacking them. Yes, there's protests, and I support the protesters. I support any kind of protest against any kind of regime. But that's not why we're going in there. We're not going in there in the name of freedom. We're going in there because Iran doesn't want to do business with us. You know what I'm saying? Because if we were about freedom and democracy around the world, then we wouldn't be friends with Saudi Arabia, Bahrain, even Israel, China. We have a kind of off again relationship with China, Russia, you know. So we wouldn't have been friends with them if it was for that. So we just want to take control of the world. We want the oil. We want all the other natural resources from these other countries, and this is what this is about. Trump said it. It's business. It's business as usual. And as I said in my other video, Trump should be removed. Yes, there's other presidents that probably should have been removed, arrested, but we have to start somewhere, right? And I think it's anti-American not to say anything against war, or not to criticize authority, because that's the whole point of the existence of America. America was created by the rebels, by a revolution against the British, because we didn't want to be part. Americans at that time didn't want to be part of the monarchy. So the whole culture, the whole spirit of America is rebellion. So to not speak out against Trump, not to support whatever Trump does, is actually anti-American. It's not pro-American. So, and this doesn't benefit anybody, except it doesn't even benefit the fighters that are bombing Iran, the soldiers that are flying over Iran, or the military ships that are sending missiles. It doesn't benefit them. It only benefits Trump, Wall Street, other ruling elites in this country, and our allies in Israel and France. And we have no business doing this. Iran has never attacked us physically in American soil, never. But we've bombed countries over and over and over again. We bombed Venezuela to get Maduro. So this is all part of that long plan. It's just been taking a lot longer than they probably what they wanted. But this is not about freedom or democracy, and I think most Americans know this. This is not nothing new. I'm not saying anything special, and the newscasters are acting like they're afraid to say anything. They're afraid to say that is this legal. They're not even questioning whether this is legal or illegal. They just kind of bringing up, oh, what if Iran attacks us, lone wolves, and all this nonsense. I mean, that has nothing to do with Iran. Those are just probably Iranian nationals that are mad that we're bombing them and they go off. Hopefully that won't happen, but that has nothing to do with the government. The government is not going to send anybody in American soil. That's never happened. And you look through our history, this is all propaganda. Any kind of propaganda to scare people into supporting war. So now they're trying to put fear in the American people by saying, oh, Iran might send a lone wolf to attack a New Year's parade or something, or a parade or a festival or a group gathering. That's nonsense. And come on, we fall for this over and over and over again. We know this is not true. And any YouTube content creator that thinks that Iran might strike us, using lone wolves or anything like that. Is you're not using your critical thinking skills. You're just not aware of anything. And you know, the certain I want, everyone has the freedom to believe what they want to believe in. It's their channel and this is my channel. Just like when I did a video speaking about how corrupt the Russian government is, and somebody's didn't like what I said on the comment section. If you don't like it, watch somebody else, you know. But I'm speaking facts, you know. This doesn't benefit anybody. Definitely don't benefit the poor that live in this country or the people that are struggling, living check for check. I'm living on the edge right now. So me and my mom, so it definitely don't benefit us. We don't get nothing out of it. What we get out of it? Freedom. We already got the freedom to do videos, but we don't got the freedom to make a lot of money, and that's not gonna change after this. So this doesn't benefit none of us. It only benefits them, the ruling elites, the people in power, the people who got the money, the people who could do whatever they want and get away with it. And something has to be done. We have to remove Trump from office, remove his vice president, remove the whole administration, Mark Rubio. And I feel like also this is like a distraction from the whole Epstein saga. The media was even the mainstream media was releasing and talking about certain files here and there every day. Now all of a sudden they're all talking about this. It's a good move by Trump. It benefits him in a lot of ways. We bomb Iran, we regime change it, we make it our country. They can extract all kinds of natural resources from around, mostly oil, and it distracts people from talking about the Trump parties I was talking about yesterday in my other video. The Trump parties where he was inviting models and there was drugs, and Luke from 2 Live Crew admitted that he didn't want to talk about the drugs though. So that's a dead giveaway right there. And Trump was friends with Jeffrey Epstein at that time, and and Hillary Clinton, regardless of whether she knew Ghislaine because she invited her, and so that was a cop-out excuse that Hillary used. But she was still defending Bill Clinton. Still, Bill Clinton is guilty. They got the picture of him with the pool with Ghislaine and a young girl, and a bunch of pictures with him and Epstein. So Clinton was definitely down there. He was definitely doing things, and Hillary Clinton is still defending Bill for whatever reason. And Hillary's a liar too. She's a war criminal too. If she would have became president, we would have been in World War III a long time ago. We would have been in a different place. But I believe in one of my videos, I also said a long time ago that that Trump is not going to start World War III right away. But if he gets elected again, he's going to start World War III. Now, hopefully there won't be no World War III, but he would definitely bomb a bunch of countries. I did say that, I believe. So I was right. I said that definitely, to co-workers and so people I know. So everything is coming exactly how I figured it would come out. And this is Trump. This is the ruling class. They want war. They want to take over every country. They can't help it. They have the power to do it, and they could get away with it. And we have the weapons. And at times, like Maduro, we didn't have to go after Maduro, but we did it. Yeah, we get the oil too. We could show the world that we could still, take your leader, but we have all this. I don't even know if I call it technology, but advanced technology and all this other stuff where we can manipulate this. We can manipulate the energy and space around us on this planet and turn it into a weapon. As crazy as that sounds. I mean, we got laser guns and all stuff that you would have thought never existed. We used to see in the Jetsons and Star Trek. We got that now, and the whole point of using some of that against Maduro was because they needed a way to test it. So invading Venezuela was a test to see how these like low energy frequency weapons can be used to make the military weak, the Venezuelan military weak, so we can just go in there and take Maduro, kill a bunch of civilians, of course, as we always do, which is a war crime. No, Trump committed a war crime. He's a war criminal now. He kills 40 civilians and all the heads of the military that were involved. That's a war crime. Um, so 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 that's a war crime, and we needed a way to we could see how if it would work in real time. That's why we did what we did to the Venezuelan military. We wanted to do it in real time to see if it worked. And I believe that whatever happened to MH370 was the same thing. We did something to that plane. Our government did something to that plane, and we probably used some things that people don't understand just to test it to see if it would work. In the case of Maduro, it worked. So and that's what all it was. It was a testing ground to experiment on Venezuela to see if these advanced weapons can be used in real time, and it worked. And with Iran, we're just doing like typical bombings and regime change because we know we can. It's not a powerful country. Now Iran has struck Saudi Arabia and Qatar. It hasn't been successful in striking Israel because of the dome. Um, it's tough because I don't support any kind of terrorism from anywhere, and I don't want to see any Israelis killed by missiles from the outskirts of Iran by terrorist group like Hezbollah. But none of this would happen if it wasn't for Israel trying to take the land in the first place in the very beginning before Israel became Israel. So Israel created this atmosphere, and then the British before that, when they were carving up the Middle East and they created Saudi Arabia and Iran. I mean, the Europeans did all this. And there's no backlash to it. There's nobody questioning what the British did, what Israel is doing, and Saudi Arabia and Bahrain are dictatorships as well, and we're basically defending them. We have military bases there. Why? Because it's all about the power. It's not about freedom or democracy. And it'll be interesting if people in Saudi Arabia actually start protesting to see if the United States will back up on defending Saudi Arabia or support Saudi Arabia still. Um, but I think anti-war, anti-authoritarian people, protesters around the world should continue to protest, continue to speak out, do videos, educate people. Don't be afraid. But it's tough because Saudi Arabia it's a dictatorship as well, and I believe I wouldn't be surprised. I'm not sure, but I wouldn't be surprised if we probably killed civilians already because it's hard to bomb a country and not kill civilians. So we broken all kinds of rules in the past, so we're gonna get away with it. There's never been a president of the United States that's actually went to prison for war crimes. We did get Nixon impeachment. Bill Clinton was impeached, but you know nothing that has to do with war crimes though. You know, Republicans said Bill Clinton bombed a empty pharmaceutical plant or whatever that was. Okay, fine. Why not try Bill Clinton for war crimes then? What happened with that? So all these conservatives and neoliberals are freaking hypocrites. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? So another war, another day in the country, another day we gotta pay taxes. Taxes go up, they take more from us. The more we make, the more they take from us. So we'll benefit from it. We're struggling, we're living day to day. Military soldiers continue to risk their lives to bomb a country that never attacked us, or to bomb countries that never attacked us. Then they go home and they'll a lot of them don't get paid well either. They get injured, they get killed in some cases. And then at the same time, these soldiers are yes men. They bomb civilians, and maybe some of them feel for it, some of them don't, and it's just another day, and not realizing that if that ever happened to us, which it would never know because we're a powerful country, but if that ever happened to us, I mean, but we have a lot of violence, we will react a certain way. But we deal with random violence every day in this country. So people hurt, people cry. Someone that's close to you gets killed by violence, and we cry. But you're committing more violence on a massive scale for who and for what? For Trump and for oil and for American domination. For what though? Who benefits from American domination? Who benefits that? We don't benefit. You want to go on YouTube and say, yeah, we got to root for the. To me, that's anti-American. Because you're only rooting for people that don't really care about this country. These are the people that go to Israel, wear yarmulkes, pretend that they're Jewish, ignore the Palestinians. You know, they go to France, shake hands with some of the dirtiest pedophiles in France. you know, that's not American. What's American about that? What's so pro-American about that? What's so pro-American about killing 40 civilians that never attacked us? That's you gotta have a conscience before you speak. I mean, it's not just about you and what you think. I mean, it's your channel. You can say whatever you want, but I also believe you have a responsibility. You know, to be accurate, to be factual, to be sympathetic towards the people, the regular civilians in other countries. You know, I don't support the Iranian government. I don't support religious theocracies, and I don't even not a big fan of Maduro either. But he shouldn't be sitting in that jail cell. He didn't never attack us. There's no drugs from Venezuela coming in our country. Most of the drugs in our country are coming from Colombia, Afghanistan, maybe China, Turkey, definitely, for years, for decades. But Turkey is our ally. We never removed a Turkish leader for narco terrorism, even though since at least the 70s or the 60s, there's been the opium trade coming into our country from Turkey, but they're still our ally. So it has nothing to do with freedom or democracy. It's all about power. It's all about trying to get what you can. Anybody that doesn't want to do business with us, you're gonna get removed. You're gonna get killed. You're gonna get your civilians killed. You know, your media attacked. So it's nonsense to say that Iran has physically hurt us or even economically hurt us. They never did. Never. It's a lie. Okay. So a lot of people in the media and the yes men, Democrats, Republicans, and Democrats are all saying, oh, well, Iran, they attacked us electronically, and maybe so, but they never took this country down. They never took this government down. They're retaliating towards our sanctions to them. Now, see, and this is why these things continue to happen, and then people say, "Oh no, I'm voting Democrat," or "No, no, no, I'm voting Republican." Listen, y'all. Either vote third party or don't vote at all. If you're only gonna vote for selfish reasons, you have a right to you vote. But I believe you shouldn't vote if you're gonna vote for selfish reasons. You gotta think, man. You gotta like use your head when you go in that voting booth in the presidential elections or in any election. Well, like, why would you vote so you so you could say Greenland being part of the United States? Like that would be a worse decision to make if Mark Rubio ever decided to run for president or JD Vance. These people don't care about this country. They care about themselves and their circles. They always have and they always will be. They don't even care about the YouTube content creators that support them. And this. You know this. So you're not doing any favors for us Americans struggling every single day, trying to get in where we fit in, trying to make it. the right way, the legal way, you know. And listen, this is in a way this is a beautiful country. This is a beautiful country. I like this country. I like the culture. I'm an American. I'm probably more American than you think. I'm probably more American than all the Trump supporters and all the Clinton supporters. I love a lot of things about this country. I love a lot of things about New York City, my hometown, Brooklyn especially, and then the tri-state area, which I'm always at because I live in Jersey City. I mean, Lincoln Park is beautiful. Central Park is beautiful. I love the older buildings that still exist in Brooklyn and Manhattan. I just love them. I just sometimes you walk through those neighborhoods and you feel like you're in another time zone. You feel like you just traveled into the past. I mean, it's amazing. The brownstones in Clinton Hill. I mean, there's this. I mean, and there's just so many there are great individuals that did make some changes that are still alive that make this changes in this country, like Ralph Nader, But and going back to the '60s, Martin Luther King Jr. I'll even praise the Kennedys, and they were all killed. Medgar Evers, great American, he was killed. Malcolm X, great American, he was killed by the Nation of Islam. You know, yet all the people that I disagree with are still alive. All the people that we believe are con artists are still alive. R. Sharpton's still alive. Farrakhan's still alive. You know, Jesse Jackson was still alive. Nothing against the man, but I have questions about him, his activities, and going back to the '60s, and you know, yeah, all the real great, and there's still some alive. Ralph Nader did some great things. He's still alive. Uh, Caesar, what's his name? Cesar Chavez, a farmer. But many great Americans that really were trying to change things were killed, and not by coincidence. And here we are, 2026. Um, I try to do my thing as an activist a while ago, a long time ago. While doing music here and there, off and on with the music, I was an activist for a while, and I just saw that even the protesters, they weren't. A lot of them weren't from my community, and if you're gonna, and they weren't even from New York, and their goals had nothing to do with freedom or democracy. It was personal goals, their personal beliefs that he wanted to bring to the table after a revolution. I don't agree with that. So I got, you know, how would you say, I just felt I shouldn't be there, so I left the group. And everyone has ulterior motives, and that's the problem. Nobody's in sync, and we're really not fighting for what we should be fighting for. Just little protests here and there, maybe, but on a bigger scale, not like how it was in the '60s and the early '70s. Like, I don't see that, and I'm not gonna see that for a while. And I know it's probably up to me to make those changes, but you gotta have the following and the power, the street power, the following to really make that kind of movement. But I just don't see anything like changing politically as long as we're brainwashed by the two-party system. And this is we're going to continue to commit crimes against humanity. We're going to continue to break all kinds of laws and rules both under both Republican and Democrat presidents because of us Americans. This is a reflection what we're seeing around the world right now with these wars and these corruption, and even Jeffrey Epstein is the American society, our society, the people. the mindset of the people that go to vote every single day. There's some great people that vote. I know some people who vote the way I do, but you know, there's a mixture of like selfish people and naive people who are voting in these elections all over the country, and they're the reasons why we're in the situation that we're in, and it's our own American citizens that are holding us back. It's Americans holding Americans back by voting for these kinds of psychopathic people, whether it's Trump or Hillary Clinton or Joe Biden, if you knew what was going on. Like it's just ridiculous to me. Like this, everything is in real time now. Social media is big, it's huge. Every president, every politician is caught saying all kinds of crazy things, and yet we still vote for them. It's us. Us. We are the problems. We Americans are the problems, and that's why we're in that situation where our country continues to feel like we could provoke, antagonize, and attack any kind of government that we can. You know, and and it's all across the board. It's the urban communities, the suburbs, the rural areas. We all vote the wrong way. You know, I mean, in the urban community and then the culture, hip hop culture, how many people we saw celebrating on YouTube when Trump first became president. I'm like, yo, bro, what are you doing? You know what I'm saying? Rappers I used to like. Now I don't like them because they kind of act goofy. Now, but at that time they were celebrating, and well, this was around the time there were a lot of rappers were becoming goofy. The ones that were going on social media, and they were all celebrating Trump becoming president. Most of them, and then I'm like, okay, what's he gonna do for us? Nothing. What's he gonna do for freedom and democracy around the world? Nothing. Because it's all about money. And eventually that mentality is going to come back around and come back at us. Because the same people that support the two-party system are the same people that support gentrification. Same people that's forcibly removing African Americans and Puerto Ricans and other people of color that were born and raised here out of our communities. And this deals with the real estate, the real estate people, developers, landlords. They're all part of the two-party system. A lot of them vote for either Hillary or Trump. So, again, I ask you, what was the point for you voting for Trump? No, if you say nothing, then why did you vote at all? A lot of you rap artists, singers, and musicians should not voted at all. Stay home. You know what I'm saying? Let the real conscious people vote. But I believe in freedom. So even if you're ignorant, even if you're stupid, you have a right to vote. Even if you're stupid and you're voting for a stupid reason. You know, welcome to American society 2026, and it's been this way for a long time. And maybe I'm just realizing it now, or the last 5 years. Um, but when my first time voting, I voted for Bill Clinton. I was 18. I didn't know no better. I also voted for Ruth Messenger, the teacher that ran against Giuliani in the New York City elections. But the second time I voted, 2000, I was 21 going on 22. I voted for Ralph Nader. And all the so-called freedom liberals were attacking people like me for voting for Ralph Nader because they said we're the reasons why George W. Bush became president. Not because his people in Florida stole the election, which that's what really happened. They stole the freaking election, and they didn't want to put Dick Cheney and them in jail for that. They got away with it because the Democrats didn't want to believe that, because everything is political. It's a political game. It's nothing about freedom or democracy or justice in this country. Not about the Constitution. So here we are. This is why we're in this situation. And y'all blame us for voting for Ralph Nader and Cynthia McKinney and Rocky Anderson and all the third party people that we voted for who are more honest. You know, you know, and Jill Stein, you know, although I'm disappointed at Jill Stein, but you know, uh, I see it for what it is. This is the reality. What I'm saying is it's factual. It's actual factual reality, you know. And these people, the people that support the two-party system, even the people who protest, they're not really thinking about the everyday people that are struggling in our community, you know, urban community, you know, and the general community next to the urban community, you know, lower class, middle class neighborhoods and stuff like that, you know. But then again, even people in my own community, they vote, they voted for Trump or they voted for Hillary or Obama. You know, Obama definitely fooled a lot of people, but I could definitely tell you now, Obama did some terrible, terrible. The Obama administration, the military, CIA did some terrible things, just as terrible as the Bush administration. And now Trump is doing it. I mean, this is evil. This is pure evil, in my opinion. I'm not being not crying or being emotional. I'm telling you the truth. This is the reality that we live in, and we put ourselves, we Americans put ourselves in this position because we keep voting Democrat or Republican, Democrat or Republican. Keep voting for it. We keep falling for it, and I don't want to say it's gonna get worse, but it can't get better, and it might get worse because I feel like it should have gotten worse, and it might get worse for our country, you know, economically and everything. And I mean, and we have our own priorities, and you know, you got mayors, Republican and Democrat, who have their own little agendas, and they want to ignore the bigger issues in our community because they have an agenda. So the new mayor, I kind of like, of New York City, I kind of was like, okay, let me see what this guy is gonna do. He's not a communist, but you know, I defend him on that. Let's see what he's gonna do. But now already I see that he doesn't want to address the issues of gentrification. He doesn't want to address the issues of poverty in our community, which leads to crime. That we got a bunch of teenagers from the lower communities that just running around doing whatever they want to do, which has been going on for years. This is nothing new. We had issues in the hood, you know, for a long time in places like Williamsburg and Bushwick and Bed-Stuy. So these kids are throwing snowballs at the police when they showed up in Washington Square Park in Manhattan the other day. And the mayor was like, "Oh, it's just a snowball fight." No, it's a bunch of teenagers who are probably doing worse in other times that were there doing snowballs at each other and then throwing snowballs at cops. Because why would you do that? And you know you could get arrested for it. And the cops should arrest them right there, right away. Um, so the mayor didn't address the fact that a lot of these teenagers are criminals, robbing people. If they're old enough to rob somebody, they're old enough to throw snowballs at cops, and they're old enough to go to jail. Send them off to jail. Forget about what the mother says. The mother should have been watching them, you know? So these are things that that I care about, that we care about, or we should care about, you know? But that mayor has a different agenda that, as you can see, has nothing to do with our community. You know, nice guy, but he's still new. I know, let's see, but I'm not saying let's see anymore now because I'm seeing for where he's going, you know? Because at the end of the day, he doesn't come from, he wasn't born and raised in New York City. He didn't come from my neighborhood. He didn't come from your neighborhood. So you know, so here we are. You know what I'm saying? And again, a lot of people that voted for Zohan Mamandi, whatever how you say his name is, a lot of people, those people, when are either not from New York City or were born and raised in New York City, but born and raised in the upper class neighborhood. You know, I don't think a lot of people in our community voted at all. You know, which is I support that in a way because that's like a protest vote. But if there was a third party candidate, y'all should have voted for him as well. But I could definitely tell you that that he most of the people who voted for Zarhan were optimistic but naive or don't understand. You know, they don't understand the New York City culture. You know, because at the end of the day, I didn't want to see a Zarhan becoming mayor of New York City. Nothing against him, because he came from a better background. I wanted to see someone from our community become mayor, or somebody progressive become mayor from a middle class neighborhood. That's what I wanted to see. But we didn't get that, so it's not gonna change. And so here we are bombing Iran because we voted for a guy who's psychopathic, who's a psychopath. And what does that say about the people who knew he was a psychopath? Because everybody knows Trump is crazy, but we voted for him anyway. It means that the people who voted for Trump are crazy too. Y'all crazy for voting for this man, you know? And yeah, again, there's a lot of naive people that voted for Trump. I get it. There's people who work for Trump that are naive, but if for most of y'all knew he was a psychopath and y'all voted for him anyway. So y'all psychopaths too, because you want to see the BS. You want to see countries getting bombed. You want to take that, yeah, let's vote for him because it's fun. You're a bystander. You're an eyewitness to the destruction of the world and the planet. That's who you want to be. You know, and that says a lot about you as a human being. That says a lot about your character. And I'm not preaching. I'm spazzing out right now. Without spazzing out, I'm just telling y'all the truth. You know what I'm saying? Same thing with Hillary. Hillary was a psychopath, and I felt anybody that voted for Hillary was a psychopath too. Yeah, y'all. Look at The View. All those women that were in The View, the TV show, that are pro-Trump or pro-Hillary, they're all crazy. Even Whoopi Goldberg, she's crazy too. She's crazy. The way she spazzes out sometimes is crazy. Now, and I'm a big fan of her as an actor. But I don't you know, no, no, no. We're going in a whole different direction. And Trump keeps saying over and over again that we have stuff that nobody understands that we can do to another country. That he's telling you without telling you that we already cracked the code on stuff that most Americans don't even understand. That we can manipulate space and energy around us, and we could turn it into a weapon. That's what he's trying to tell you. He's trying to tell y'all, and he's saying that to say that he's willing to use it, and he used it on Maduro. Oh, I believe Obama used it as well. Yep, and maybe George W. Bush as well on the protest on domestic protesters. You know, so this is where we at right now, and we put ourselves in this position. And any politician, that Republican or Democrat, that says this is about freedom or democracy is lying. It's a straight liar, and he knows he's lying. They're all lying. Now, where does that put more optimistic people who probably never had experience working for government, like let's say Pan Bondi, that's her name, or Christy Nome, who's running ICE, who I thought was generous and only going after illegal gang members. But I still support that. And also this woman, I forgot her name, the one that's trying to get the Epstein files released and is releasing it little by little. You know, I always assumed that they were actually anti-war because they came across kind of like how Tulsi Gabbard came across, but she was anti-war. until I find out that she changed her mind. It's like that. It's like it's like AOC also on the Democrat side. Like she's supposedly she was against war, against the Israeli government, against Saudi Arabia, but now she's not saying that. It's like these naive people thought that they could make changes within the party system, and they realized, oh, I gotta go along with the agenda, and that's what you're seeing with those females. You're seeing an agenda. And Ilhan Omar, my message to Ilhan Omar, who, if you're angry at Trump and you're angry at the situation, we're angry at the situation we're in right now, then why are you a Democrat? You could have been an independent or could have been an activist, an outside activist. Instead, you thought you could change something from the inside, and you realize, oh man, we're stuck. And now you want to lash out at Trump, but you should be blaming yourself because the change you can't make changes from the Democratic side or for voting for Joe Biden or Kamala Harris. You can't. She's not gonna support that. She's pro-Israel. She's pro-bombing Iran. She's pro-Saudi Arabia. Kamala Harris is no different than Hillary Clinton. So if Ilhan Omar, I don't doubt she cares about humanity in the world, then be an activist. Don't be a politician. Same thing with EOC, you know. Um, this is, so yeah, like man, it's frustrating. It's frustrating. But I'm not frustrated that I'm angry with her. I gotta take care of what I gotta take care of personally. And and my thing is just to spark the minds of people. Um, like I said, I was out there in the trenches. I was even out there. I was out. Wait a minute. I was out there in the trenches in Afghanistan against the war on terror in 2009, 2010, and I was out there uh, as a bystander in Manhattan when the riots came down, and so it's I could see it was disorganized. It's a lot of agendas. It's the only agenda of a protest should be the Constitution, to support and promote the Constitution, and to spark debate, which I think even somebody like Charlie Kirk was trying to do, even though I disagree with him many times before. But I think he wanted to debate people, and I think he was willing to listen. Um, but man, we have nothing to blame but ourselves. And a lot of YouTube content creators, people who I follow, they kind of went along with this. They voted for Trump. They're going along with the bombings. They're going along with this whole propaganda that Iran might attack us, which they haven't physically. They never will. The propaganda that Iran is a dictatorship, which it is, but that Saudi Arabia isn't. The propaganda that Israel is a democracy, which is a joke. It's a joke. And the whole idea that supporting Trump and everything he does is pro-American, that's propaganda. That's anti-American. To be pro-American is to think the way I do. It's to think rebellious, to think revolutionary, to think against authority, to make sure we have our constitution, we have our freedoms, you know? That's it, you know? So that's just my 2 cents in all this. I mean, I could keep talking. I could keep talking. I got the time, you know? There's some, but, I try not to make it too long. But, yeah, this is something that they've been trying to do for a long time. This has nothing to do with, oh yeah, Trump is doing this because of this. We were trying to do this for a long time. Iran and Venezuela was in our sights going back to after 9/11 and before 9/11. So this is nothing new. This is something that's already planned. We were just waiting for the right time, maybe the right president, and now we got it. We got Maduro, and now we bombed Iran. We kind of got Venezuela, and we got Iran. Kind of. Let's see what happens. But Yo, we got Iran. We're gonna replace him with somebody that's just as bad, maybe worse, but he's gonna be our ally. And we're gonna do what we do with Saudi Arabia, look the other way while women get their heads chopped off, and continue to sell weapons to them. You know what I'm saying? Like, or to continue to let Saudi Arabia do blockades on Yemen where children are starving to death. Nobody's talking about the children in Yemen anymore. And Israel does the blockades in Gaza, starving Palestinian children to death. Nobody wants to talk about that now. And if you think that's okay, if you think that's pro-American, that's fine. Enjoy, enjoy the as a lot of stupid AM talk show hosts used to say, enjoy the theater, enjoy the play. Like if this is entertainment, enjoy the theater. You know, enjoy the theater, enjoy it. Eat your popcorn and watch the baby starve to death. Watch the baby's heads get blown off. Watch women's heads get chopped off by Saudi Arabia, and eat your popcorn. Peace.